The day I signed away my life, I was too busy counting tips from my morning shift to notice the tremor in my father's hand. Looking back, that should have been my first warning. My name is Vanessa, and I've spent the last 6 years working 2 jobs while my younger brother chases his dreams of becoming the next Steve Jobs. That morning, I'd pulled a double at the diner, my feet aching in cheap non-slip shoes, when my parents showed up unannounced. "Honey, we need a quick favour," Mum said, breezing past me into my tiny apartment. She was wearing her designer blazer, the one reserved for Zachary's investor meetings. Dad followed behind, clutching a manila envelope and avoiding my eyes. I kicked off my shoes, trying not to think about the stack of bills on my kitchen counter. "I have another shift in 2 hours. This won't take long." Mum's smile was tight. "Your brother's about to close a huge deal for his startup. The investors just need some paperwork signed by immediate family. Something about shared household verification." "What kind of verification?" "Just bureaucracy, dear." She waved her hand dismissively. "You know how these things are. Zachary explained it all to us." Dad cleared his throat, finally speaking. "It's standard procedure nowadays. For tech companies." I reached for the envelope, but Mum pulled it back slightly. "We're in a bit of a hurry. The courier's waiting downstairs. Just need your signature on the marked lines." My phone buzzed. A text from my second job asking if I could come in early. "Mum, I should really read." "Vanessa." Her voice took on that edge I knew too well. "Your brother needs this today. He's worked so hard for this opportunity. You wouldn't want to be the reason it falls through, would you?" I looked at Dad again, hoping for something. He just stared at his shoes. "Fine." I grabbed the pen Mum was already holding out. "Where do I sign?" She flipped through the pages quickly, pointing to highlighted lines. "Here, here, and here, initial these 2 spots." The paper was thick, official-looking. I caught fragments of words like collateral and guarantor, but Mum's manicured finger kept moving, kept pointing, kept rushing. "There," she said finally, gathering the papers before I could look closer. "Was that so hard? Your brother will be so pleased." "Speaking of Zachary, where is he?" "Oh, you know how busy he is. Meetings all day. He sends his love." Mum was already heading for the door. "We'll have you over for dinner soon, honey, when things settle down." Dad paused in the doorway. For a moment, I thought he might say something important. Instead, he just mumbled, "Take care, sweetheart," and hurried after Mum. I barely had time to shower before my next shift. That night, serving plates of pasta to happy families, I pushed down the familiar ache of being the other child, the responsible one, the boring one, the one who signed papers without reading them because family asked. My phone rang just as I was closing up. Unknown number. "Is this Vanessa Wolf?" "Yes." "This is Marcus from Allied Collections. I'm calling about your outstanding balance of $48,000. Are you able to make a payment today?" The world tilted sideways. There must be a mistake. "No mistake, ma'am. The loan was taken out 3 weeks ago. Payment is now past due." My hands went numb. The phone nearly slipped from my grip. "I never took out any loan. Our records show your signature on multiple documents, Ms. Wolf. Perhaps we could set up a payment plan." I hung up. Called Mum immediately. Straight to voicemail. Called Dad. No answer. Called Zachary. "The number you have dialed is not in service." I sat down hard on the restaurant's back steps, still in my sauce-stained apron. The spring night felt suddenly cold. In my mind, I saw Mum's perfectly manicured finger, moving so quickly over those pages, Dad's trembling hands, Zachary's disconnected phone. My family hadn't asked for a favour today. They'd made me an accomplice. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. I let it ring, staring at the screen until it went dark. In its black surface, I caught my reflection. The good daughter. the reliable sister, the fool who never learned to say no. But something else was there too, behind my eyes. Something hard and sharp and angry, something that had been waiting years to wake up. They thought they could use me and discard me. They thought I would stay quiet, stay helpful, stay small. They were wrong. I stood up, brushed off my apron, and went inside to clock out. I had some papers to find, some calls to make, and a family to destroy. I drove straight to my parents' house the next morning, still wearing yesterday's clothes. The collection agency had called 4 more times. Each voicemail made my hands shake harder on the steering wheel. Their house looked exactly the same. Pristine lawn, gleaming windows, careful perfection hiding whatever rot lived inside. Mum answered the door in her yoga outfit, green smoothie in hand. "Vanessa? It's not even 8? I pushed past her into the foyer. "What did you make me sign? Lower your voice?" She glanced toward the street, ever conscious of neighbours. "Come to the kitchen. We'll discuss this like adults." Dad was at the breakfast table, hidden behind his laptop. He closed it when he saw my face. $48,000. My voice cracked. "That's what the collection agency says I owe. What did you do?" Mum set her smoothie down with deliberate calm. "We did what was necessary. Zachary's company needed bridge funding until the next investment round. The banks wouldn't approve more loans in our names. So you forged mine instead." "We didn't forge anything. You signed willingly." "Because you lied about what I was signing." Dad suddenly became very interested in his coffee mug. Mum's face hardened. "You're being dramatic. This is what family does. We help each other. Your brother is on the verge of something extraordinary. All we need is a few months until the Series A funding comes through." I laughed, harsh and hollow. "My credit is ruined. I could lose my apartment. My jobs won't cover these payments. It's temporary," Dad finally spoke, still not looking at me. "Zachary promised he'd make it right." "Where is he? Let me talk to him." "He's in meetings," Mum said quickly. "Very important meetings. He can't be disturbed. His phone's disconnected. He's changing numbers. Security concerns, you understand. The tech world is very competitive." I stared at them both, Mum with her rigid smile, Dad with his guilty silence. These strangers wearing my parents' faces. "I'm going to the police." Mum's smoothie glass hit the counter hard. "You will do no such thing. This is a family matter. This is fraud. This is your duty." She stepped closer, voice dropping to that silk-wrapped steel tone I knew from childhood. "We have sacrificed everything for this family. Your father worked 2 jobs to put you through college. I gave up my own career to raise you both. Now it's your turn to give back." "By committing a crime? By supporting your brother's dream?" She was almost yelling now. "Why are you being so selfish? This is bigger than your little financial concerns. Zachary could change the world with this company. All he needs is a chance. And all you need is my signature to steal from me." Dad stood up suddenly. "Anne, maybe we should—" "Sit down, Edmund." Mum didn't even look at him. He sat. I pulled out my phone. "I'm calling the bank, then the police." "If you do that," Mum said quietly, "you're no longer part of this family." The words hit like a physical blow, but underneath the pain something else stirred, something like freedom. "You know what? I don't think I want to be anymore." I walked out, ignoring Mum's calls behind me. In my car, I pulled up my banking app. Multiple transfers had been made to an account I didn't recognise. Each one bore my electronic signature, similar to my real one, but slightly off. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Sis, please don't do anything stupid. I'll fix this soon. Promise. Z." I blocked the number and dialed the bank's fraud department instead. "This is Travis Steele," a calm voice answered. "How can I help you?" My name is Vanessa. Someone took out loans in my name without my knowledge. I need to report fraud. Can you come to the branch? Bring any documentation you have. I started the car. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Another text came through, this one from Mum. You're making a terrible mistake. Family protects family. I thought about Dad's trembling hands, Mum's rushing finger across those papers, Zachary's disconnected phone and empty promises. Family protects family. But who had ever protected me? I typed back 3 words. Watch me burn. Then I drove to the bank, where Travis was waiting with a stack of forms and a sympathetic smile. As I described what happened, he pulled up records on his computer. His frown deepened. Ms. Vanessa, I'm seeing multiple loans here. The $48,000 is just the first one. There are 3 more pending approval, totaling over $200,000. The room spun. They hadn't just stolen from me once. They'd planned to keep doing it. I want to press charges, I said, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. All of them. I want them to pay. Travis nodded, reaching for his phone. I'll call Detective Brooks right now. He handles our fraud cases. He paused, looking at me carefully. Are you sure? This will get ugly. I thought of Mum's threat, of Dad's cowardice, of Zachary's lies. Good, I said. It's about time something did. The hardest part was pretending everything was normal. For 2 weeks, I smiled through family dinners, nodded at Mum's endless praise of Zachary's genius, and quietly gathered evidence. You seem different, my friend Tabitha said during our shared lunch break at the diner. Calmer, maybe? I stirred my coffee, watching the cream create patterns. I'm just tired of being everyone's doormat. Good. About time, she leaned forward. So, what's the plan? Before I could answer, the diner's bell chimed. Zachary walked in with a tall, elegant woman I recognized from his company's Instagram, Yasmin, his newest investor and girlfriend. Vanessa. He spread his arms wide as if we hadn't been avoiding each other's calls. What luck finding you here. I work here, Zach. You know that. He laughed too loudly. Right. Yasmin, this is my big sister, the responsible one. Yasmin smiled warmly. I've heard so much about you. Funny, I said, matching her smile. I've heard nothing about you. Zachary's eye twitched. He needed something. That's the only reason he ever showed up. Can we grab a coffee? Just us siblings? I glanced at Tabitha, who squeezed my hand under the table. Sure. Yasmin, would you like to join us? Oh, I wouldn't want to intrude, she started, but I cut in. Please, I insist. I'd love to hear about my brother's company. Mum says you're a major investor. We settled into a booth, Zachary fidgeting with his designer watch, the one he probably bought with my stolen money. The app's growth is incredible, Yasmin gushed. The user engagement metrics alone. Speaking of metrics, Zachary interrupted. Sis, I need a tiny favour. How are you handling the cash flow? I asked Yasmin directly. Startup costs must be enormous. Zachary kicked me under the table. Yasmin's smile faltered slightly. Well, we had some unexpected expenses, but Zachary assured me the next funding round will... Everything's fine, Zachary cut in again. Better than fine. We're just waiting on some paperwork to clear. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app. Paperwork like this? Zachary's face went white as I showed him the fraud report screen. Yasmin leaned forward, curious. What's that? Nothing, Zachary said quickly. Just some family business. Actually, honey, could you grab us some coffee? Once Yasmin walked away, Zachary grabbed my wrist. What are you doing? Showing you what happens when you steal from me. I didn't steal anything. Mum and Dad handled the paperwork. And you took the money. His grip tightened. I needed it. The company's about to explode. Once we go public, I'll pay everything back triple. The police don't care about your promises. You called the cops? His voice cracked. Are you insane? You'll ruin everything. I twisted free from his grip. You did that yourself. Yasmin returned with 3 coffees. Everything okay? Perfect, I said brightly. Zach was just telling me about the company's financial reports. You must have copies, right? As a major investor. Zachary stood abruptly. We need to go. Meeting across town. But we just got here, Yasmin protested. Now! He practically dragged her out, leaving the untouched coffees behind. Tabitha slid into the booth beside me. That was brutal and beautiful. My phone buzzed. A text from Detective Brooks. Documents received. Meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. to discuss next steps. Another buzz. Mum, Zachary's very upset. Call me immediately. A third. An unknown number. Ms. Vanessa, this is Yasmin. Can we meet privately? I have some concerns about the investment structure. I showed the messages to Tabitha. Phase 1 complete. What's Phase 2? I pulled out a worn notebook I'd found hidden in Dad's home office during my last visit. The pages were filled with suspicious accounting notes from his firm. Dates, amounts, and names that didn't match official records. Now, we let karma do its work. My phone buzzed again. Travis from the bank. Additional loan applications just came through under your name. They're getting desperate. I thought of Zachary's pale face, Mum's incoming rage, Dad's hidden secrets. The house of cards was already swaying. One small push would bring it all down. I texted Yasmin back. Let's meet tomorrow. I have some documents you should see. Then I texted Detective Brooks. I found evidence of previous fraud, much bigger than my case. Finally, I texted Mum. You're right. We should talk. I'll bring copies of everything I've found. All of it. Tabitha read over my shoulder and whistled low. They have no idea what's coming, do they? I watched Zachary's Mercedes peel out of the parking lot, Yasmin's confused face visible through the window. They thought they could bury me, I said quietly. They forgot I know where all the bodies are hidden. My break was over. I tied my apron back on, ready to serve tables and wait for the explosion I'd just lit the fuse on. Some fires need to burn everything down before anything new can grow. The official letters arrived on a Tuesday. I know because I was there, parked across from my parents' house, watching the courier deliver them. Mum's hand shook as she signed for the envelope. Dad's car peeled out of the driveway 20 minutes later. My phone started ringing immediately. I let it go to voicemail. Vanessa, this is your mother. What have you done? Call me back this instant. Delete. Sweetheart, it's Dad. Please, we need to talk about this. My partners at the firm are asking questions. Delete. Sis, you've got to stop this. The investors are freaking out. Everything I've worked for. Delete. I drove to the bank where Travis was waiting with Detective Brooks, a stern-faced man with kind eyes. The forensics team confirmed the signature forgeries, Brooks said, spreading photos across his desk. Your mother's handwriting matches the fakes. What about my father's firm? We're investigating the discrepancies you reported. His partners are cooperating fully. Brooks paused. He's been suspended pending review. My stomach twisted, but I pushed through. And Zachary's company? Travis handed me a newspaper. The business section headline read, Tech startup under investigation, investor funds misappropriated. Your brother's been busy, Brooks said dryly. The loan money didn't go where he claimed it would. My phone buzzed. Yasmin calling. I answered on speaker. The user numbers were fake, she said without preamble. The growth metrics, the engagement data, all inflated. I checked after our talk. How did I miss this? People see what they want to see, I said quietly. I've pulled my investment. Others are following. Vanessa, I'm so sorry about what they did to you. I ended the call as another text came through. From Mum. Coming to your apartment now. We'll fix this together. Do you need protection? Brooks asked, reading over my shoulder. No. It's time to face her. I got home just as Mum's Mercedes pulled up. She looked smaller somehow, her designer outfit wrinkled, her makeup smudged. How could you? She hissed, following me inside. Your father's career is ruined. Zachary's investors are abandoning him. All because you couldn't handle a simple family obligation. You mean fraud? Everything we did was for this family. No, I said, my voice steady. Everything you did was for Zachary. I was just collateral damage. She sank onto my couch, suddenly deflated. He's special. He needs protection, support. You've always been the strong one. Strong enough to take the fall? We would have fixed it, she whispered, once the company succeeded. Like Dad fixed those accounting records I found, the ones I gave to Detective Brooks. Her head snapped up. What records? The notebook in his office. 5 years of creative bookkeeping. His partners are very interested in those numbers. Mum's face went ash grey. You didn't? I did. And tomorrow, the police will have Zachary's real company financials, the ones showing where my loan money actually went. You're destroying us. Her voice cracked. Your own family. You destroyed us first. I'm just making it official. A knock at the door made us both jump. Detective Brooks stood there with 2 uniformed officers. Anne, he said formally, we need you to come with us. We have some questions about those loan applications. Mom straightened her spine, dignity reassembling like armour. I want my lawyer present. Of course, officers will escort you. As they led her out, she turned back once. When you're done burning everything down, what will you have left? Myself, I said. That's enough. My phone buzzed again. Dad. The partners found everything. I'm being charged with fraud. Your mother's not answering. Please, help. Then, Zachary. The tech blogs are destroying me. My whole future's gone. I hope you're happy. Finally, a text from an unknown number. I opened it and froze. Found this in your father's old files. Thought you should see it. TC. Attached was a photo of a decades-old document. A loan application, similar to mine. But the name on it was my Aunt Teresa's, Mum's sister, who died mysteriously bankrupt 15 years ago. The signature looked forged. I sat down hard, staring at the image. This wasn't their first time destroying someone who trusted them. Just their first time getting caught. My phone buzzed one last time. Detective Brooks. We're bringing them all in tomorrow. Be ready to make a statement. I looked around my small apartment, thinking of Mum's words. What would I have left when this was over? The truth, justice, freedom, and maybe somewhere in the ashes of what used to be my family, I'd find the person I was always meant to be. Someone who wouldn't let anyone steal her voice again. I texted Brooks back. I'm ready. Tomorrow, the real fire would start. The morning news broke like a tsunami. I watched from my phone as my family's carefully constructed image crumbled in real time. Local accounting firm under investigation. Tech startup CEO accused of investor fraud. Family scheme. Unravels. Mother arrested. Tabitha brought coffee to my apartment, where I sat surrounded by printouts and screenshots. You okay? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with Yasmin's call. The tech blogs are destroying him, she said without greeting. Those user statistics you sent me, they're going viral. Every investor is demanding answers. I pulled up Twitter. Tech bro fraud was trending, with Zachary's smug promotional photos being torn apart by industry analysts. Did you know? I asked her about any of it. God, no, I thought... She laughed bitterly. I thought he was brilliant, special. Instead, I dated a fraud and lost $2 million. My laptop pinged, an email from Detective Brooks with a video attachment, security footage from Dad's firm showing him shredding documents late at night. "Your father's partners want to meet," Brooks wrote. "They found irregularities going back 7 years." I forwarded the video to the firm's ethics board. "Vanessa?" Tabitha pointed to my TV. "Look." Mum's face filled the screen, her perp walk playing on local news. Her designer suit couldn't hide her handcuffs. Dad trailed behind, head down, as reporters shouted questions. My phone exploded with notifications. Old family friends distancing themselves publicly, business associates denying connections. The social death was happening in real time. "Miss Vanessa?" A voice called through my door. "Package for you." I opened it cautiously. Inside was a thick manila envelope with a note. "Found these in Teresa's storage unit. Thought you should know." Marcus, her old lawyer. The documents inside made my blood run cold. Bank statements, loan applications, letters begging my mother to stop using her name for credit, all dated months before Teresa's accidental overdose. "Holy shit," Tabitha whispered, reading over my shoulder. "They've done this before." I called Detective Brooks immediately. "I have something you need to see." "Already busy here," he said, sounding tired. "Your brother just tried to leave the country. Airport police stopped him at the gate." My hand shook as I took photos of Teresa's documents. "I'm sending you proof this isn't their first fraud scheme. They did this to my aunt before she died." Silence on the line. Then, "Get down here, now." At the police station, Zachary sat in an interview room, his expensive suit wrinkled. He looked up as I passed. "Sis, please," he called out. "I can explain everything." I kept walking. Brooks met me in his office, spreading Teresa's documents across his desk. "This changes things. We're looking at a pattern of behaviour spanning decades." "What about my mother's arrest?" "She's not talking. Your father's singing like a bird, though, trying to save himself." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Sandra from Tech Weekly. Would you like to comment on your family's situation?" Then another. "Daily business news here. Can we get your side of the story?" And another. "Your brother's investors are filing a class action lawsuit. Would you be willing to testify?" I showed them to Brooks. "It's all coming down, isn't it? Like dominoes." He gathered Teresa's papers carefully. "We'll need to reopen her case." Outside his office, I heard a familiar voice rising in hysteria. "My daughter is destroying this family," Mum shouted as officers led her past. She looked wild, mascara streaked. "Vanessa, how could you do this to us?" I stepped into her view. "How could you do this to Teresa?" She went pale. "What?" "We found her letters, Mom, the loans, the threats, everything." "You don't understand," she whispered. Zachary needed." "Take her back to holding," Brooks ordered. My phone buzzed again. "Dad, they're seizing everything, the house, the accounts. I told them everything about Teresa. I'm so sorry." I walked out of the station into a crowd of reporters. Cameras flashed, questions flew. "Did you know about your brother's fake user data? What happened to Teresa? How long has your family been running these schemes?" I thought about Mom's screams, Dad's confession, Zachary's pleading eyes, Teresa's desperate letters. Looking directly into the nearest camera, I said, "The truth always comes out, no matter how long it takes." Back home, Tabitha helped me sort through the media requests, flooding my inbox. What now? I opened my laptop, created a new document, started typing. Now I tell the whole story, every scheme, every lie, every manipulation, starting with Teresa. "They'll never recover from this," she said quietly. I thought of Teresa's last letter, begging for help that never came, of my own signature on those loans. of years of being used as a safety net for other people's crimes. Good, I said and kept typing. Some families deserve to burn. The article went live on a Thursday morning. The family business, a story of fraud, death, and betrayal, spread across social media like wildfire. My phone hadn't stopped ringing since. I was at work when Mum showed up, mascara streaked, designer clothes wrinkled from her night in jail. Table, for one? I asked coldly. How dare you? She slammed Teresa's letters on the counter. Several customers looked up. Airing our private business like this? Making these ridiculous accusations? They're not accusations if they're true. Your aunt was troubled. She made poor choices. Like trusting her sister? I kept my voice level. Like signing papers without reading them. Just like I did. I am your mother. And she was your sister. I moved around the counter, facing her directly. Did she beg you to stop? Like those letters show? Did you watch her spiral into depression while you kept taking and taking? Mum's face crumpled. We needed the money. Your father's business was struggling. Zachary was showing such promise. So you killed her. The diner went silent. Mum's face went white. We didn't. No, you just forged her name on loans until she lost everything. Watched her lose her house, her savings, her hope, then conveniently found her after the overdose. You don't understand, she whispered. Family sacrifices. Get out. My hands were shaking. Before I call Detective Brooks, I'm out on bail. You can't. Watch me. I pulled out my phone. Should I tell him about the life insurance policy you took out on Teresa 3 months before she died? The one I found in Dad's old files? She stumbled back like I'd slapped her. How did you... I found everything, Mom. Every document, every scheme, every lie. And now everyone else knows too. The bell above the door chimed. Dad walked in, looking 10 years older than last week. Anne, he said quietly, we need to go. The lawyers. Did you tell her? Mom spun on him. Hey, did you show her Teresa's files? I confessed everything. He wouldn't meet her eyes. About Teresa, about the firm's books, about Zachary's fake company data. It's over. Coward. She swung at him, but he caught her wrist. No, Anne, you're the coward, using our daughter like you used your sister. I should have stopped you years ago. My phone buzzed. A news alert. Tech startup CEO charged with investment fraud. Company declares bankruptcy. I turned the screen to show them. Looks like Golden Boy finally faced consequences. They're destroying him, Mum wailed. His whole future. Like you destroyed mine? Teresa's? I did everything for this family. No, Dad said quietly. You did everything for yourself. Using family as an excuse. 2 police officers entered the diner. Detective Brooks behind them. Anne, he said, new evidence has come to light about Teresa's death. We need you to come with us. Mum's face crumpled. She looked at me one last time, not with anger now, but with something like fear. What have you done? She whispered. What you taught me to do, I replied. Protect the family. I'm protecting Teresa's memory and myself. The officers led her out. Dad lingered. The firm's pressing charges, he said. I'll probably serve time, but I'm testifying against her. About everything. Good. He pulled an envelope from his jacket. Teresa's last letter, the one your mother hid. She wrote it to you. My hand shook as I took it. Why are you giving me this now? Because I'm done hiding her secrets. He turned to leave, then paused. I failed both of you. Teresa. You. I'm sorry. After they left, I sat in an empty booth and opened the letter. Teresa's handwriting was shaky, desperate. Dear Vanessa, they're using you like they used me. I see it starting. The family obligations, the guilt, the manipulation. Don't let them break you like they broke me. You're stronger than I was. Fight back. Love, Aunt Teresa. My phone buzzed again. A text from Zachary. They're taking everything. The company, my accounts. Mum's being charged with Teresa's death. How could you do this to us? I thought of Teresa's words, of Mum's schemes, of Dad's silence, of Zachary's entitlement. I typed back. I learned from the best. Family first, right? Then I blocked his number, wiped my eyes and stood up. My shift wasn't over, and these tables wouldn't serve themselves. Let them lose everything. Let them face justice. Let them feel what Teresa felt, what I felt. Some debts can only be paid in full. The courthouse buzzed with whispers as I took the stand. Mum sat at the defendant's table, her orange jumpsuit a stark contrast to her usual designer wear. Dad and Zachary were in the row behind her, both in suits that couldn't hide their defeat. Please state your name for the record, the prosecutor said. Vanessa. My voice carried through the silent courtroom. Daughter of the defendant. Can you tell us about the events leading to your discovery of the fraud? I looked directly at Mum as I spoke. It started with a loan I never took out, $48,000. Then I found more loans, more forged signatures, more lies. Objection, Mum's lawyer called. Speculation. Overruled, the judge said. Continue. I held up Teresa's last letter. Then I found this, my aunt's final words before she died, before they drove her to suicide. Mum's face twisted. Zachary stared at his hands. Dad looked like he might be sick. She warned me, I continued, about their pattern, about how they use people. Family was just their excuse to take whatever they wanted. The prosecutor held up documents. These loan applications bear your signature, but you didn't sign them. No, my mother forged them, like she forged Teresa's, like she forged dozens of others. You lying bitch! Mum stood up, shaking off her lawyer's restraining hand. After everything we did for you. Order! The judge banged his gavel. Mrs. Wolfe, control yourself or you'll be removed. The prosecutor continued. What happened when you confronted your family? They said it was my duty. That family sacrifices for family. I met Mum's glare. The same things they told Teresa before they destroyed her. Zachary suddenly stood up. This is insane. We were building something great. The company just needed time. Mr. Wolfe, the judge warned, sit down or join your mother in custody. The prosecutor held up more papers. These documents show a life insurance policy on Teresa, taken out by the defendant 3 months before her death. Did you know about this? Not until I found Dad's hidden files. I turned to the jury. They planned it all. The loans, the forgeries, the insurance. They knew exactly what they were doing. Mom lunged forward. You ungrateful! 2 bailiffs grabbed her arms. The judge banged his gavel again. Remove the defendant. As they dragged Mom out, she screamed, I am your mother. You owe me everything. No, I said quietly. I owed Teresa the truth. The trial continued for hours. Dad testified next, confirming everything. His voice shook as he detailed years of fraud, both at home and his firm. Zachary tried to claim ignorance, but crumbled under cross-examination about the company's fake data. Finally, the jury left to deliberate. In the courthouse hallway, Yasmin approached me. They found more investors he scammed, she said. The civil suits are just beginning. Good. I'm testifying in those cases. She hesitated. Thank you for exposing the truth. Dad walked up as she left. The firm's partners want to meet, about making restitution. Too late. I know. He aged 10 years in one sigh. I kept her secrets for so long, helped hide everything. I deserve whatever's coming. The bailiff called us back in. The jury had reached their verdict. Mom stood with her lawyer, steel-spined but trembling. The forewoman cleared her throat. On the charge of criminal fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of identity theft, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of conspiracy related to Teresa's death, we find the defendant guilty. Mum's legs gave out. Her lawyer caught her before she hit the floor. The judge leaned forward. Anne, you systematically destroyed lives while hiding behind family loyalty. You drove your sister to suicide for profit. You attempted the same with your daughter. I sentence you to 13 years in prison. Zachary rushed out before the gavel fell. Dad sat crying silently. Mom stared at me as they led her away. Was it worth it? She hissed. Destroying your whole family? I thought of Teresa's shaky handwriting, of forged signatures and stolen futures, of years living under Mum's manipulation. You destroyed this family, I said. I just exposed the ruins. Outside, reporters swarmed with questions about the verdict, about Mum's schemes, about Teresa's justice. I pushed through them all, found Tabitha waiting by her car. You did it, she said softly. No. I looked back at the courthouse, where my former family was scattered like ashes. Teresa did it. She gave me the strength to fight back. What? Now? My phone buzzed. Detective Brooks. DA's dropping charges against your father in exchange for continued cooperation. Zachary's facing civil penalties only. Your mother's going away for a long time. I deleted the message without responding. Some chapters need to end completely before new ones can begin. Now, I told Tabitha, I start over, without their shadows hanging over me. We drove away from the courthouse, leaving behind the ruins of a family built on lies. Sometimes justice looks like destruction, and sometimes destruction is the only path to freedom. The last box from my old apartment felt heavier than the others, maybe because it contained the final traces of my former life. Old family photos, Mum's letters from prison, Dad's attempts at apologies, Zachary's newspaper clippings. That's the last one, Tabitha said, watching me set it down in my new living room. You sure you want to keep any of it? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Dad. Signed the divorce papers today, moving to Florida. I know it doesn't make up for anything, but I'm sending you Teresa's old jewelry box. It should have gone to you years ago. I showed Tabitha the message. He's been sending things like this since his probation started. Little pieces of truth wrapped in guilt. And your mother? Still writes weekly from prison. I haven't opened a letter since the sentencing. My doorbell rang. Travis from the bank stood there holding a folder. Thought you'd want to see this personally, he said, handing it to me. Your credit's been fully restored. All fraudulent loans expunged. I flipped through the papers, my financial freedom in black and white. There's something else, he continued. The bank's creating a new fraud prevention division. We'd like you to head it. Me? Who better? You uncovered one of the biggest family fraud schemes we've seen. Plus, your story's already helping other victims come forward. My phone buzzed again. Yasmin this time. Another tech blog picked up Zachary's story. They're using it as a cautionary tale about startup fraud. Thought you should know. I opened my laptop, found the article. Tech, prodigies, fall, reveals industry's dark side. Below it was a smaller headline. Sisters whistleblowing sparks industry-wide reform. Look at this, Tabitha said, pointing to her phone. A support group for family fraud victims had quoted Teresa's last letter in their materials. Her words were helping others escape. When do I start? I asked Travis. Monday, if you're ready. I looked around my new apartment. No family photos on the walls, no guilt in the corners, no shadows lurking behind closed doors. The doorbell rang again. Detective Brooks stood there with a small package. "Found this in the evidence archives," he said. "Teresa's old diary. Thought you should have it now that the case is closed." I held the worn notebook, feeling its weight. "Any news about Mom?" Still trying to appeal, still claiming family loyalty. He shrugged. "Some people never learn." "And Zachary?" "Working as a junior programmer in Seattle, no more startups." My phone lit up with another text, an unknown number. "This is Marcus, Teresa's old friend, starting a foundation in her name to help fraud victims. Would you consider being on the board?" I showed everyone the message. "Think I should?" "Think Teresa would want you to?" Tabitha asked softly. I opened the diary, found a photo tucked inside. Teenage Teresa and me, both laughing at something long forgotten. Before the fraud, before the lies, before everything burned down. "Yes," I said. "She would." Travis checked his watch. "I should go. See you Monday, boss." After he left, I opened the box of family remnants. Old Christmas photos, birthday cards, memories of a family that never really existed. "What are you going to do with it all?" Detective Brooks asked. I pulled out Teresa's letter, the only piece of the past worth keeping. The rest... "Anyone have a match?" Tabitha grinned, pulled out her lighter. Brooks raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. We took the box to my small balcony. One by one, I fed the photos and letters to the flame, watching them curl and blacken. "To Teresa," I said, burning the final picture, Mom, Dad, and Zachary at his company launch. "To Justice," Brooks added. "To starting over," Tabitha finished. My phone buzzed one last time. "Dad, again. I understand if you never forgive us, but I want you to know I'm proud of you. For fighting back, for surviving us." I typed back, "Goodbye, Dad. Take care of yourself." Then I blocked his number, just like I'd blocked Mum's prison calls and Zachary's new email address. The sun was setting as Brooks left, casting long shadows that didn't frighten me anymore. Tabitha helped me unpack my new life. Books, clothes, dreams that were finally my own. "Ready for Monday?" she asked. I looked at Teresa's diary, her letter, the job offer, the foundation invitation. Pieces of a future built on truth instead of lies. "Ready?" I said. Sometimes family isn't who you're born to, but what you build from the ashes they leave behind. Sometimes justice isn't just punishment, but creating something new from the ruins of the old. And sometimes the happiest endings come not from forgiveness, but from finally being free.